What's your name?
I'm Brooke, and I tell stories. Some of them are true. Since January, we haven't been without a dog in our house for more than 3 days. 2 boarders and 1 friend's dog, and 4 foster dogs. When we board dogs, we're their doggy grandparents. We spoil them with high-quality treats, deli turkey, and heated broth added to their kibble at breakfast and dinner. They've got full run of the house and our fenced-in yard. Most of them sleep with us. Myrtle, the Boston Terrier, burrows under the covers with an attitude of righteousness. Forrest is a diagonal bed hog, and Cello digs under a blanket in his own bed. We keep their people apprised with daily food and poop reports, photos, videos, and sometimes Greg spontaneously breaks out into a song named after them. Cello the dog is one of his most memorable tunes. When they go home, we're ready to say goodbye and give them back to their adoring guardians. But with the foster dogs, saying goodbye can be kind of tough. Most of the time, we know very little of their history. Were they abandoned, kept under brutal conditions, like the 182 doodles who were rescued earlier this year? Abused? Were they used to breed over and over and over again in a puppy mill and then tossed aside? When we received our first foster, Paul Bunyan, who is well known in Nashville foster circles, he had puncture wounds on the top of his head and was recovering from minor surgery. He arrived in pajamas, and that probably helped us deal with the fact that he was the biggest dog we'd ever seen, let alone board. Later, we discovered that this gentle giant, a huge St. Bernard doodle, had been attacked by previous foster parents' dogs. His head was shaved and he had stitches, but it didn't stop him from being so ridiculously lovable. Zion was one of those 182 doodles. I continued to worry about him when we released him to another foster after getting spayed, but we heard from the rescue's vet that he's been adopted and is doing well. He was a tough one. I've written about him in another place. And then there was Lois, a private foster. And it was really difficult not to adopt yet another one of these gentle giants, but she's in a great home now. I still miss her. As our job, as we see it, is to prepare them for adoption. That can include potty training, leash training, and worst of all, crate training. The crate training is the most difficult for me, and truth be told, we often fail completely at that and let the dogs sleep next to us on a bed that a friend donated, and even in our bed. But don't tell the rescue organization, we're not supposed to do that. For the last week and a half, we've had Mama Doe, so named by the rescue organization. All the mommy dogs get named Mama something. We heard that she was abandoned somewhere in Tennessee while pregnant. At 2 years old and only 20 pounds, it's difficult to imagine that this girl gave birth to 8 puppies, known as the woodland litter. She's got short little legs and a kind of dachshund shape with wiry fur and deep brown eyes. Once she was well enough, Mama Doe was fostered by Jennifer, an incredibly giving woman who had a complex doggy situation at home, including one blind dog. The only reason we received Mama Doe was because Jennifer was about to foster a pup who needed special medical attention. I'm glad there are people out there like Jennifer because I sure couldn't do that. Jennifer brought a fluffy blanket, extra toys, designer treats, and was so generous with her care for little Mama Doe. She told us that Mama Doe wasn't too keen on men and for the first few days, she definitely shied away from Greg. Mama Doe became my shadow, resting under my desk when I worked and following me everywhere. When Greg entered the scene, she'd shy away from him. But then there is that moment, that one day when everything changes. There's a shift, and the dog learns to trust. We've seen this happen over and over again. It's like magic. In the last few days, Mama Doe was snuggling up to Greg on the sofa and even going out in the backyard with him, not just me. She gained confidence, as evidenced by her presenting me with Greg's size 13 boot. She was getting into mischief. She was being a domesticated dog, not a stray out in the woods scavenging for food. She'd find the funniest thing and chew them to smithereens, from our Roku remote to an adult coloring book. This week, we were told that a couple was interested in adopting her. I summoned my emotional strength and gathered all her possessions, including all the new toys and treats. The day before, Jennifer drove out of her way to deliver a car seat because she knew Mama Doe didn't like being in the back. We both had high hopes for the meet and greet at the shelter. We all met at the appointed time, but something was missing. They didn't bring their dog. And that's a key part to seeing if it will be a good fit for adoption. We sat in that tiny meet and greet room while Mama Doe barely looked at them. The woman had to bribe her with treats to get her attention. They kept saying how cute she was, but it didn't feel right. We arranged for another meetup with their dog at our house that night. They canceled, and I knew they would. We set up a new time, and I suspected they canceled again, and they decided not to adopt Mama Doe. The man wanted a dog who would like him as well as his wife. Greg and I were ready to say goodbye, but we were committed to fostering Mama Doe until the right family for her was found. A couple days later, we were told that a soon-to-be retired couple were coming all the way from Lexington, Kentucky. Sharon and Scott, they were interested in meeting Doe. They would visit their son in Nashville and meet Doe at her house. Greg had an extensive conversation with them and then another with Jack. They talked about her name and wanted to rename her Dottie, thinking it was close enough to Doe, but way more doggy and people-friendly. I immediately started calling her Dottie, and I immediately liked them. Don't ask me why, I just did. When they arrived to join me in the yard, Dottie had a case of the zoomies. She was running around like crazy, in and out of the places she'd discovered, through the bamboo, between the arborvitae, around and around in circles. Was she showing off? Greg and I knew that she knew something was up. Finally, she settled down. The dog, now known as Dottie, showed absolutely no sign of shying away from the men. Jack picked her up and she relaxed in his arms. Then Sharon had her on her lap, holding her like a baby. Dottie was now an adoptable dog. You could see them falling in love with her. I know she fell in love with them too. She never rushed over to me for protection. She let them pet her and handle her. Seeing that made me love this beautiful Kentucky family too, and I fell in love with Dottie even more. As I gathered Dottie's things, that special blanket that Jennifer donated, and so many more toys and treats, a copper penny fell out of the canvas bag that I'd chosen earlier. I placed it on the coffee table without giving it a second thought. Sharon noticed it. She told us how when her dad passed, her mom told her that pennies would appear from heaven, and they always tended to appear in circumstances like this. If we didn't already know it was meant to be, then that sealed the deal. Amidst hugs and tears, we saw Daddy off, seated in her new car seat next to her new mommy, and looking serene, knowing she will be well cared for. Sorry. When I wonder why we do this, because it hurts so much when these beautiful dogs leave, when the house feels so empty, when they're gone, I remember these moments. A family has formed, a bond bloomed right before our eyes. A penny came from heaven, and we got to be part of it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bob.
I didn't think I was gonna cry.